Welcome to Basic Electronics class. Today we will be starting with op amps. So op amp is basically the short form of operational amplifier. And why these are known as operational amplifier is because this can be used to carry out mathematical operation. Mathematical operation such as addition, multiplication, etc. Okay, and that is why these are known as op amps. Okay, op amp is basically not a fundamental block like a transistor. Okay, rather op amp is actually made up of many transistors. Actually, there can be like 200 transistor or 48 transistor. It depends on the op amp property, how many transistors are there, or it depends on the accuracy with which we want the op amp properties. Okay, so depending on the properties or depending on the accuracy that the op amp can provide, there are multiple transistors inside the op amp. Okay, so it is not a fundamental block like a transistor or a diode. So diode and or transistor are fundamental blocks. Basically they are one block. Okay, op amp is not, on the other hand, a fundamental block. Op amp contains many transistors which are actually connected in a particular fashion to give the op amp its desirable properties. Okay, so op amp is not a fundamental block, or device, rather there are multiple transistors inside the op amp that give rise to its properties. Okay, so let us see the block diagram of an op amp. We would not discuss the construction of an op amp, or we will not discuss in detail how the transistors are connected inside the op amp to give rise to its properties. Rather, we would take the op amp as a black box. So op amp is represented by a triangle, and a op amp has two input terminals. So one is denoted by plus and the other terminal is denoted by minus. So these are the input terminals basically. Okay, and this plus is known as the non-inverting terminal, and minus is known as the inverting terminal. Okay, these are the two input terminals. Okay, so these are the two input terminals of the op amp. We have two more terminals across which the biasing voltages of the op amp are to be collected. Remember that these biasing voltage are not the input to the op amp. Okay, these are not the input voltages to the op amp. Rather, these biasing voltages plus V bias and minus V bias are basically fixed DC voltage that needs to be connected to the op amp to make the op amp functional. Or if I speak in a little bit detail, these biasing voltages plus V bias and minus V bias are basically the voltages which needs to be connected to the op amp to take the transistors inside the op amp to the forward active mode. Okay, just like we apply a voltage of VCC to the collector of a transistor through a resistor. Okay, so here VCC is basically the biasing voltage. So let me draw this diagram here in case you have forgotten. So in case of the BJT or also in case of the MOSFET, okay, we apply this DC voltage to the base and collector of this transistor to take the transistor to the forward active mode. So VCC here is basically the biasing voltage. Okay, in a similar way, this plus V bias and this minus V bias here are basically biasing voltages that are used to make the op amp functional, or that are used to take the transistors inside the op amp to the forward active mode. So these are the biasing voltages, and we have one ground terminal which needs to be connected to the ground, but generally this ground terminal is actually not shown in this block diagram, and we have one output terminal. So this is our output terminal, and across this terminal we basically get the output of the op amp. So V0, so this is the output terminal. And these two are basically the input terminals. Okay, so an op amp basically has many desirable properties which actually make op amps very useful in electronic circuits. Okay, before discussing the properties or specifications of the op amp, let us also discuss some other aspect which is important. Just like the output of a transistor is taken across the collector, okay, this is the collector voltage is our output voltage V0, and the maximum voltage that this V0 can have is basically limited to VCC. Okay, this particularly occurs when this base to emitter junction is basically in the cutoff regime. When the base to emitter junction is in the cutoff regime, in that case there would be no base current, so there would be no collector current, and so if there is no collector current, then this output voltage would be equal to VCC. Okay, so the maximum voltage that the output of a transistor can have is basically equal to VCC. Okay, so here in case of a transistor also we actually apply our input through a capacitor. So this is our input voltage V in, and this is the capacitor. Okay, so in case of the transistor also, the maximum voltage at the output, that is the maximum voltage of the collector, is limited to VCC, and that happens when the base to emitter junction is actually in the cutoff regime. Okay, in a cutoff no base current can flow, so no collector current can flow, and if there is no collector current can flow, then there is no voltage drop across this resistor RC. So V0 is equal to 0. So V0 is equal to VCC. Okay. So similarly, the maximum output voltage that this op amp can have is also approximately limited to plus V bias. Just like in case of a transistor, the maximum output voltage is actually limited to this VCC, which is the biasing voltage. In case of the op amp also, the maximum output voltage of the op amp is limited to approximately this plus V bias. Okay, and the minimum voltage at the output is limited to minus V bias. Okay, so plus V bias and minus V bias basically defines the range of variation of the op amp output voltage. Okay, so let me write it here. So the maximum and minimum voltage across the output of an op amp is limited to plus V bias and minus V bias respectively. Generally, plus V bias lies in the range of plus 12 volts to plus 15 volts, and minus V bias lies in the range of minus 15 volts to minus 12 volts. Okay. Now, an op-amp is actually characterized by its gain AOD, which is also known as the open loop gain of the op-amp. So, AOD is basically the open loop gain of the op-amp, and in general AOD is very large, and AOD is so large that in mathematics, or when we do mathematical calculations, AOD can be actually taken as infinity. So AOD is very large and can be taken as infinity for mathematical derivations. Right now, just know these things. We would actually discuss how to actually derive mathematical equations and why this point is useful, that AOD is large and can be taken as infinity for mathematical derivations. Okay, and the output voltage of the op-amp V0 is basically given by V0 equal to AOD V plus minus V minus, where V plus is basically the input voltage at the non-inverting terminal and V minus is actually the input voltage at the inverting terminal. Okay, so the output voltage of the op-amp is basically given by V0 equal to AOD, which is the open loop gain of the op-amp, multiplied by V plus minus V minus, so the difference between the input voltages. Okay, now just as I stated that the output of the op-amp can vary from a maximum value of V bias plus V bias to a minimum value of minus V bias. So the input versus output characteristics of a op-amp is basically given by a graph like this, where in the horizontal axis we have V plus minus V minus, which is basically the difference between the voltage of the non-inverting terminal and the inverting terminal, and in the vertical axis we have this output voltage as V0. Okay, now as I said that the minimum voltage that the op-amp output can have is minus V bias, and the maximum voltage that the output of an op-amp can have is basically plus V bias. Okay, and between minus V bias and plus V bias, the output of the op-amp basically varies linearly. Okay, and when the output basically reaches an approximate value of plus V bias, this output of the op-amp basically saturates. Similarly, when the output of the op-amp reaches this value minus V bias, the output of the op-amp also saturates. So like this. So this is how the input output characteristics of the op-amp would look like, of course of an ideal op-amp. And this range between the plus V bias and minus V bias, that is this range, basically defines our range of variation of the output voltage. Okay, so the output of the op-amp is basically can be given by this equation, that V0 is equal to AOD V plus minus V minus of course in this range. Okay, and this parameter AOD, this parameter is basically the characteristics of the particular op amp or the property of the particular op amp. Just like beta of a transistor or the common emitter current gain of a transistor depends on the transistor itself, here also the open loop gain AOD basically depends on the particular op amp. Okay, this AOD is basically a property of the op amp itself, and for good op amps AOD is very large and it can be treated as infinity for doing mathematical calculations. Okay, now just as I stated, an op amp basically has certain properties and which make them very important or very desirable for certain operations, and we will discuss the properties of the op amp one by one. So the first property I have already discussed, that op amp has very large open loop gain and AOD basically tends to infinity. Okay, the second property is that almost no current can flow into the op amp. So almost no current can flow into the op amp. Okay, so I plus is approximately equal to 0 and I minus is approximately equal to 0, where I plus and I minus are basically the current that is flowing through the non-inverting terminal. I plus is approximately equal to 0 and I minus is approximately equal to 0. So this also means that an op amp has a very large input impedance. So an op amp has a very large input impedance. Okay, the third property is that it has a very low, so op amps have very low, almost zero output impedance. This means that the output voltage does not change with the output current, or the output current can actually change without a change in the output voltage. The output current can change without a change in the output voltage. So these are the three basic properties of the op amp, and all other properties can actually be derived from these three properties. So let us actually write the fourth property, which can also be derived from the property number 1, 2 and 3. So in a closed loop configuration, V plus and V minus should basically stay at the same voltage. Okay, so in closed loop configuration, V plus and V minus should approximately stay at the same voltage. Okay, so let me actually let us understand what the closed loop configuration of an op-amp basically is. So closed loop configuration of an op-amp is basically a configuration where the output and input terminals are connected by a feedback loop or by a resistor or capacitor or in maybe inductor. So the basically the output and the input or at least one of the inputs should be connected to the output terminal through a external impedance. Okay, so let me show it here, and let me also tell a fact here that for most of our calculations or for most situations we would actually not be showing this plus V bias and minus V bias in the equivalent diagram of an op amp. It is already implied that we have actually applied the plus V bias and minus V bias voltage to the op amp. So this would actually not be shown separately in a block diagram when we draw circuits for most applications. Okay, so I am deleting this plus V bias and minus V bias terminals here, but this definitely does not mean that the op amp is not connected to the biasing voltages. It is that for an op amp to be operational, they should always be connected to the biasing voltage. So it is already implied when we are drawing an op amp circuit that the op amp is actually connected to the biasing voltages. Okay, so closed loop configuration is basically the configuration of an op amp where the output and at least one of the input is actually connected via an external resistor, or not only resistor but an external impedance. So if we connect, let us consider this circuit here. We have this resistor Ri which is connected to the non-inverting terminal, and then we have this resistor Rf which is actually connected to the output. Okay, so this is basically a closed loop configuration of an op amp. Okay, this is basically a closed loop configuration of an op amp. In generally or in most of the cases, we would actually make the closed loop in the inverting terminal. Okay, so we would connect this closed loop or this feedback resistor in the inverting terminal of the op amp. Okay, and this is, let us call this is a voltage V in. So in this closed loop configuration, okay, in the closed loop configuration, V plus is approximately equal to V minus. We will actually derive this equation, but right now just know this thing. In closed loop configuration, V plus is approximately equal to V minus. Okay, so I repeat again that closed loop configuration of an op amp basically means a configuration where the output and at least one of the input terminals is connected via an external impedance. Okay, so that is why this is called a loop, that this path basically forms a loop actually. Okay, so that is why this is known as the closed loop configuration. So closed loop configuration of an op amp is the configuration in which the output and at least one of the input terminals is connected by an external impedance. Okay, So these are known as the closed loop configuration of an op amp. And in a closed loop configuration of an op amp, the inverting and the non-inverting terminal voltages should approximately be the same. Okay, and so in closed loop configuration, V plus and V minus should approximately be at the same voltage, provided that the output voltage V0 should lie in the range of V plus V bias and minus V bias. Okay, if the output voltage is actually lying in the range of plus V bias and minus V bias, that is when the output voltage varies with the input voltage, in that case this V plus and V minus, that is the voltage at the inverting and the non-inverting terminal, should actually stay at the same voltage, provided that the configuration of the op amp is in closed loop configuration. Okay, so this property is known as the property of virtual shorts. Okay, this is known as virtual short. Why this is known as virtual short is because this voltage V plus and V minus are approximately the same, which basically tells us that it is kind of shorted, but actually in reality it is not shorted. Okay, if V plus and V minus are actually approximately the same, then we can think that these two terminals are basically shorted by a wire. Okay, but in reality they are not actually shorted. Okay, we have not shorted this V plus and V minus voltage, or we have not shorted this inverting and non-inverting terminal, but since V plus is approximately equal to V minus, it appears as if this inverting and non-inverting terminals are actually shorted, and that is why this is known as virtual short. So virtual means in reality it is not shorted, but it appears as if it is shorted. So that is why this is known as virtual short. Okay, now we would actually derive this virtual short property of the op amp. So let us actually see how this property appears. So let us consider this closed loop configuration of an op amp, and we know that if this output voltage lies in the range of plus V bias and minus V bias, then the equation relating the output voltage to the input voltage is basically given by V0 equal to AOD, which is the open loop gain of the op amp, into V plus minus V minus. Okay, this equation we have seen earlier. Now there is this external loop, there is this path basically which is connecting the input to the output. Okay, or there is this loop that basically connects the inverting terminal of the op amp, which is this terminal, to the output. Okay, and so basically we can actually consider in an equivalent diagram where there is only this V in, this V minus and this V0 in this equivalent diagram. Okay, we can actually consider that this resistor are being biased in this way. So we have applied V in here, and then there is V0 here, and then this point is basically V minus. Okay, and since earlier we have actually told that no current can flow into the op amp, that is this I minus is approximately equal to 0, and also this I plus is approximately equal to 0. So no current is actually flowing through this terminal in this direction. Okay, no current is actually going out through this V minus terminal here. In that case, we can actually write this voltage V minus by this equation. V minus is equal to Rf divided by Ri plus Rf. Vi plus Ri divided by Ri plus Rf V0. Okay, so this is Ri and this is Rf. Okay, this Ri here and this Rf here. Okay, so Rf is basically connected between this V minus and V0. So here also Rf is basically connected between V0 and V minus, and this Ri over here, this is connected between V in and V minus. So here also Ri is connected between this V in here and V minus over here. Okay, so this is actually the correct equivalent diagram. This equation is actually not very difficult to find. If you cannot understand the current through this path, I is basically given by I equal to V in minus V0 divided by Ri plus Rf, and then the voltage at this point V minus is basically equal to V in minus I into Ri. Okay, so you just put this I, you just replace this I from this equation and you land at this equation over here. So just do it yourself. I am not doing it here. Now from these two equations, let us find out this condition of virtual short and what would be the output voltage V0. So this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Okay, so we use this equation number 1 and write as V0 equal to AOD V plus minus V minus, and now we use the value of V minus from this equation 2. So we replace the value of V minus here, V plus minus Rf divided by Rf plus Ri V in minus Ri divided by Rf plus Ri V0. Okay, so we just replace the value of V minus here from this equation number 2. Okay, now we do a little bit of algebraic manipulation and reach at the equation V0. So we basically take this term here to the right hand side. So here, okay, so V0 1 plus Rf AOD divided by Rf plus Ri is equal to AOD V plus minus Rf divided by Rf plus Ri V in. Okay, now we divide both sides of this equation by AOD. So dividing both sides by AOD, we get V0 1 divided by AOD plus Ri divided by Ri plus Rf equals to V plus minus Rf divided by Ri plus Rf V in. Okay, now we note that AOD is basically very large, so AOD tends to infinity. Since AOD tends to infinity, therefore 1 by AOD must tend to 0. Okay, so we can neglect this term here with respect to this term Ri divided by Ri plus Rf. Okay, so we get the equation V0 Ri divided by Ri plus Rf equals to V plus minus Rf divided by Ri plus Rf V in. Okay, so therefore V0 is equal to Ri plus Rf divided by Ri, V plus minus Rf divided by Ri, V in. Okay, so this is the equation that we have got. Now we see that this is basically the output voltage, and the output voltage is dependent on V plus and V in here. Okay, so this is basically, let us call it equation number 3 here. Okay, so now let us write equation number 3 in this page. So V0 is basically equal to Rf plus Ri divided by Rf plus Ri divided by Ri, V plus minus Rf divided by Ri, V in. Okay, this is the equation, and this equation we call it equation number 3. Now we go back to our equation number 2 to find out the value of V minus. So let us see what equation number 2 was. Equation number 2 is this one, V minus equal to Rf divided by Ri plus Rf Vi plus Ri divided by Ri plus Rf V0. So we write this equation here. So from 2, V minus is equal to Rf divided by Ri plus Rf Ri plus Rf V in plus Ri divided by Ri plus Rf V0. Okay, now we just put the value of V0 from equation number 3 here. Okay, so we just replace this V0 here by this equation number 3. Okay, so then we get Rf divided by Ri plus Rf V in plus Ri. So we replace this value here from this equation, and this Ri divided by Ri plus Rf and this Rf plus Ri divided by Ri, these two factors actually cancel out. So we are left with only V plus here, V plus, and then Ri divided by Ri plus Rf into Rf divided by Ri V in. Sorry, this should be minus here, plus V plus minus. Okay, and then this Ri cancels out, so we are left with Rf divided by Ri plus Rf. Okay, so let me rub this portion and write it. Rf, so Rf divided by Ri plus Rf V in, and this factor basically cancels out with this factor here. Okay, so this is equal to V plus. So we get V minus is equal to V plus. Okay, so V minus is equal to V plus, and so what we stated that the inverting and non-inverting terminal should approximately be at the same voltage in the closed loop configuration is actually true. Okay, so this is basically the condition for virtual short. So note that this condition of virtual short is actually valid due to the property number 1, 2 and 3. So let us see the property number 1, 2 and 3. So one is that the op amp has very large open loop gain, which is this one. The second is that almost no current can flow into the op amp. Okay, so we have already used this property of the op amp when we approximated that 1 divided by AOD is approximately 0. Okay, and we have used the second property of this property of the op amp, that almost no current can flow through the op amp. This property we have used when we wrote down this equation number 2 here. Okay, in this equivalent diagram we assumed that no current is actually flowing into this terminal V minus or into the inverting terminal. So this property that no current can flow into the op amp, this property we have used when we wrote down or when we derived this equation number 2. Okay, and this third property, this op amp has a very low output impedance and the output voltage is independent of the output current. This property we have used when we have not considered what is the output current that is flowing into the op amp. So we just considered the output voltage of the op amp, but we never discussed what output current is flowing into or what output current is actually flowing out of the op amp. So when we did not consider the current flow at the output of the op amp, we were basically using this property. Okay, so as I stated that this virtual short is basically a result of this property number 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so this condition is basically known as virtual short, that the inverting and the non-inverting terminal must approximately reside at the same voltage in the closed loop configuration of the op amp. Okay, now let us actually use this property that we have got from our calculation. This V0 is RF divided by RF plus RI divided by RI minus RF divided by RI V in. So let us write down this equation. V0 for this circuit is RF plus RI divided by RI V plus minus RF divided by RI V in. Now instead of writing this as V in and V plus, let us write down these two voltages as V1 and here as V2. So then we can write this output voltage as RF plus RI divided by RI V2, and this V in over here can be replaced by V1. Now consider a situation that V2 equal to 0. Consider V2 equal to 0. Okay, so V2 equal to 0 basically means that this terminal is basically grounded here. Okay, in that case V0, so consider V2 equal to 0. So in this case V0 is equal to minus RF by RI into V1. Okay, this configuration is known as the inverting configuration or inverting op amp amplifier. Why it is known as amplifier? This is known as amplifier because from this formula we can understand that if RF is basically greater than RI, then V0 is basically greater than V1. Okay, or if RF is greater than RI, in that case V0 is basically an amplified version of V1. Okay, so that is why this configuration is known as inverting amplifier. Okay, if RF is greater than RI, then this configuration is basically amplifying the signal. That is why this is known as amplifier. And why this is known as inverting amplifier? This is because this voltage V1 is basically connected to this inverting terminal of the op amp through this resistor RI. That is why this configuration of the op amp amplifier is basically known as the inverting configuration of op amp amplifier. Okay, now consider another situation where V1 is equal to 0. Okay, so consider V1 equal to 0. So V1 equal to 0 means that this point is basically grounded here. Okay, so if V1 is equal to 0, in this case V0 is basically equal to RF plus RI divided by RI V2. Okay, now here V2 is basically the input voltage. Okay, in this inverting configuration of the amplifier, this V1 was actually the input voltage. In this case, since V1 is 0 and the input voltage is basically V2. Okay, so this configuration is known as the non-inverting amplifier configuration or the non-inverting configuration of op-amp amplifier. This configuration is known as the non-inverting configuration of op-amp amplifier, or simply the non-inverting amplifier. Okay, or the non-inverting op-amp amplifier. Okay, so now why again this is known as amplifier? Because this factor is always greater than 1, so at the output we are basically getting an amplified version of this voltage V2. Okay, so that is why it is known as amplifier. And why it is known as the non-inverting configuration is because the input voltage V2 is actually connected to this non-inverting terminal. Okay, so that is why this is basically known as the non-inverting configuration of the op-amp amplifier. Okay, now we see, or we have seen earlier, that we have basically derived this formula here through a lot of mathematics. Well, not a lot of mathematics, but through some mathematics. Okay, so we have actually derived this formula through mathematics. Okay, let us see if we can actually derive these formulas, or if we can derive this formula and this formula over here in a simpler way. Okay, so let us see the inverting amplifier. So in the inverting amplifier, this input voltage Vin is basically fed to the inverting terminal of the op-amp, which is this terminal, through this resistor Ri, and then a feedback resistor Rf is basically connected between the output and the inverting terminal here. Okay, so this is the output basically. So it is connected, this resistor Rf is basically connected between the output terminal and the inverting terminal over here. Okay, and this point is basically grounded. So the voltage at the non-inverting terminal is basically 0. Now we know that no current can actually flow into the op-amp. So this I minus, which is the current into the inverting terminal, is approximately equal to 0. Okay, if this I minus is equal to 0 and no current can flow into the op-amp, this basically means that all the current that is flowing through this resistor Ri must be forced to flow through this resistor Rf. Okay, because no current can flow into the op-amp. Okay, because I minus is approximately equal to 0. Okay, now another point to note is that this voltage V plus and V minus should approximately be the same. Now V plus is approximately equal to 0, or V plus is equal to 0, because V plus is basically grounded. The non-inverting terminal is grounded. So since V plus is equal to 0, this means V minus, which is approximately equal to V plus, is also equal to 0. Okay, so the voltage at this point, because of virtual short, must be 0 volt. Okay, now we can calculate the current that is flowing through the resistor Ri. Okay, so the current through the resistor Ri is basically I Ri equal to V in minus V minus divided by Ri, and V minus is approximately 0, so this is equal to V in divided by Ri. Okay, now as I said that since no current can flow into the op-amp, all the current that is flowing through the resistor Ri must be forced to flow through this resistor Rf. Okay, so IRF is equal to IRI equals to V in divided by Ri. So what is V0? V0 is basically equal to V minus IRF into RF. Okay, so V minus is 0 minus IRF is basically V in divided by Ri from this formula over here into RF. So minus RF by Ri into V in. So we note that we have got this formula before actually. So when we derived it in the lengthy way, we have also got this formula over here in the inverting configuration of the op-amp amplifier. So this is a different way to do this problem, but in a simpler by a simpler method actually. Okay, the closed loop gain of the op-amp amplifier ACL is equal to V0 divided by V in, which is equal to minus RF by Ri. Note that the closed loop gain is not the same as the open loop gain. The open loop gain is actually a property of the op-amp itself. This is generally represented or denoted by this AOD, and this is very large. This is typically infinite. Okay, closed loop gain on the other hand is not a property of the op-amp, but the closed loop gain is basically a property of the external resistors RF and Ri that is actually connected to the op-amp. Okay, and I again repeat that why it is known as closed loop, because this feedback resistor RF actually forms a closed loop with this output voltage V0 and this input V minus. That is why this is known as the closed loop gain. Okay, and just as I stated, this closed loop gain is a property of the external resistor that is connected to the op-amp. And another point to note is that this closed loop gain ACL is basically independent of AOD. Okay, this closed loop gain is basically independent of AOD. So let me write it here. And this is not a property of only the inverting amplifier, that the closed loop gain is independent of AOD, but in all closed loop circuits the gain is actually independent of AOD. So we will also see in the following sections or in the following classes that in every op-amp circuit this closed loop gain is basically independent of AOD. Okay, so let us see if this method which we discussed right now also applies to the non-inverting amplifier, or if we can get this formula for the non-inverting amplifier in a simpler method that we just now discussed. Okay, so non-inverting amplifier. So in a non-inverting amplifier, the input voltage is provided at the non-inverting terminal. Of course, you can put a resistor over here. This resistor is actually put for safety, but there is no need to actually put the resistor. And then we put this voltage source V, and this point is actually connected to the ground. Okay, so this is a non-inverting configuration of the op-amp amplifier because the voltage source V is actually connected to this non-inverting terminal. Okay, now let us see if we can actually get the same formula as we have derived in a lengthy method. So here, because this point, that is this non-inverting terminal, is at a voltage V in, this V minus should also be approximately fixed at a voltage V in. Okay, because V plus is approximately equal to V minus. So V plus is the voltage at this point here. V plus is equal to V in. So V minus is approximately equal to V plus is equal to V in. Okay. Now again, just as before, no current can flow into or out of the input terminals of the op-amp. So I minus and I plus both are 0. So I minus is approximately equal to 0 and I plus is also approximately equal to 0. Okay, since no current can flow into or out of the input terminals of the op amp, so this basically means that any current that flows through this resistor RF must actually be forced to flow through this resistor RI, because there is no other current path. Okay, now the current that flows out of the resistor RI, which is basically equal to IRI, is equal to V minus divided by Ri, and V minus is approximately equal to V in, so V in divided by Ri, and the direction of flow of this current is actually from this inverting terminal to the ground, that is, this is the direction of flow of this current. Okay, now IRF, just as I stated, that all the current that is forced to flow through RF must also flow through Ri, so IRF is equal to IRI, which is equal to V in divided by R1 Ri. Okay, now this output voltage V0 is basically equal to V minus plus IRF into RF. Okay, why this is plus here is because the current is actually now flowing in reverse direction, so current is flowing through this resistor RF in this direction. Okay, that is why we have actually added this plus term here. So this is equal to V minus plus IRF is equal to V minus is equal to V in, so V in plus IRF is equal to V in divided by Ri into RF. So V in 1 plus RF divided by Ri, so this is equal to V in Ri plus RF divided by Ri. Okay, so now the closed loop gain of the amplifier ACL is basically equal to V0 divided by V in, which is equal to Ri plus RF divided by Ri. Okay, so this formula actually we have seen earlier in when we did this equation when we derived this equation in a lengthy way. So this is the same formula as that one. Okay, so this is also another method that you can apply to solve this kind of problems, that the current flow into and out of the op amp input terminals is basically 0. We assume that the current flow into or out of the op amp input terminals is 0. So all the current that is flowing through this resistor Ri must also be forced through this resistor Rf, and then under this assumption we basically calculate the input voltage. Okay, so let us do up to here today. Thank you everyone.